and welcome to Let's Collaborate, a podcast from the Southwest Doctoral Training Partnership. I'm your host, Catherine MacDonald, and joining me for this episode is Yarden Woolf from the University of the West of England, who's researching students' use of green space. Yarden, tell me more about that.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. So what I'm actually looking at is exploring the relationship between how students use green spaces, nature connectedness, and environmental orientation. And what I mean by nature connectedness is kind of your sense of self and where you position yourself between self and nature. Do you feel part of nature? Do you feel related to nature? And environmental orientation is kind of a good predictor to how environmentally behaving you might be. And the point of this is to hopefully in the future inform both universities and city councils, which are homes to students, on how to better design green spaces to elicit these sort of behaviors. We want to create more sustainable adults, and I believe that university students are the right target population for this. They're kind of young, we can still influence the way they think and behave. So that's my PhD in a nutshell.
And what motivated you to do it? It sounds like this is coming from quite a personal place, this research.
Definitely. So my background is in landscape architecture and urban planning. So obviously I love green spaces and the environment, or I wouldn't be in this field. I worked for nearly 8 years in practice. But from the time I did my master's at UCL, I knew I wanted to pursue a PhD. And my topic is not the same as what I researched before, but kind of builds on it. And I think particularly today with the ongoing climate crisis, we have to find more creative solutions to how we influence people's behaviors.
Absolutely. And so what's your methodology? How are you actually conducting the research? What's it involving?
Yes, so I'm a second-year PhD student, and I'm just about to start deploying my methods, and I'm going full qualitative, meaning I'm going into very in-depth methods. So one of the first things I'm going to do is just observe students in their natural habitats, quote, meaning I'm going to see what they do in green spaces and where they do these things, because I'm trying to tie their behaviors to physical aspects, so like outdoor furniture, vegetation, things like that. And then I'm going to do a 2-part interview. The first part is a photo elicitation. For those of our listeners who might not be sure of what that is when I ask them to take pictures of green spaces that mean something special to them, whether positive, maybe negative, and kind of discuss and understand where these emotions are coming from. And then I'm going to go with the same students into the actual green spaces and interview them while we're walking in this. And again, this is to tie all what they're saying to me to the physicality of those green spaces.
And you touched earlier on what you hope it will inform or change. If it could have one legacy, if you could sort of pick one, what would it be?
So I think my dream legacy would be kind of creating a manual for universities on how to design their green spaces. I think particularly in the UK, the amount of students grows every year. International students like me especially obviously come here for better education. And I think there has to be some sort of manual that tells universities this is how you should probably design your green spaces to help impact these sort of behaviors and create more sustainable students who then become more sustainable adults.
And what about international comparisons? So you mentioned there, obviously international students coming over to our campuses, traffic obviously goes the other way as well. Do you have a sense yet of how we fare when you compare us internationally?
So that's a great question. I don't have a sense yet, but I think maybe that's a postdoc idea.
Well, you are welcome. So one final question. What advice would you give someone who's thinking of embarking a PhD, which was obviously you not quite so long ago, was it, if you're just about to embark on your second year? So yeah, what would your advice be?
I think just follow your passion, find a field you're really passionate about. PhD it can be a hard process, but I feel a very rewarding one. And if you're not driven by your passion, you have to be driven by something you really want to research and passionate about. So I guess just find that niche, that corner. I guess it's similar to podcasting. Find where you fit in and then just go for it. It took me a couple of years to get funding for my PhD, but I did not give up and I got it in the end. So if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Fantastic. And I wish you all the best with it. Yarden, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. And thanks to you for listening to Let's Collaborate from the Southwest Doctoral Training Partnership. This was produced in collaboration with Research Podcasts and was recorded at the SWDTP Conference in 2023. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you receive your podcasts.